Would you say a Game 7 against, I don't know, the Boston Celtics in a Lakers-Celtics rivalry is a big deal?
Because it's a big deal, and he didn't perform that great that night.
Kobe couldn't buy a shot. Meta World Peace bailed him out. You want to talk about palm sweaty and all that stuff? How about when you look like you've been moving in quicksand? The broadcasters were mentioning it. Everyone knew because Kawhi was hurt, because Kawhi is the entire offense of the team, because Kawhi is tasked with defending the Greek Freak half the game.
And who was he going against? Guys who never won.
Yeah.
Right, but why
he was going against guys who never won.
They're not going to win because of Kawhi. Hold on. Now, when he did that, Kawhi, in the third quarter, so it didn't get to a Game 7 on the road, when they were down 15 points, single-handedly brought them back in 2 minutes, made up 10 points. Now they're down 5 points heading into the fourth, and Kawhi won them the game. I recall Kawhi Leonard dribbling around Ben Simmons, who's an excellent defender, and shooting a three with time expiring.
But I don't recall anyone denying that. I don't recall anyone denying that. I can give you
anecdotal evidence about Kawhi,
No, but what I'm saying is you gave me anecdotal evidence over a couple of games. We got 20 years of Kobe.
If you're asking me,
I've seen it.
If you guys are asking me to compare 20 years of Kobe to Kawhi so far, I can't do that. All I can do is take Kobe at this point in his career and compare the accomplishments at his peak. How high a level did he reach at this point? And I'm telling you, overall, Kobe is a greater player than Kawhi has been so far.
Let me ask you a question, Max.
Under pressure, Kawhi has been better.
Let me ask you a question, Max. We all know that Steph Curry's the greatest shooter in the world, right? We concede that, right?
Sure.
What would Steph Curry have done if he were playing in the 80s or the 90s?
Shot the hell out of the ball, though.
Wait a minute.
He's going to shoot the ball.
He wouldn't have been the player he is now. You know why?
Correct.
He'd have got hurt.
Played differently.
They got hurt. They'd have slipped. Somebody would have untied his shoelaces, stepped on his ankle, kept beating his forearm. They'd have sent them to the hole. You know how he goes to the hole with those pretty one-handed shots? Let him try that with the Oakleys of the world. Wait for it have took his head off. What I'm saying to you is that the game has evolved and it has changed. And some of the things that Kobe had to endure, Kawhi has never had to endure that.
But we can't.
And you're ignoring that.
No. What we can't do is pluck each guy out of their prime and put them in the other era because they weren't asked to do that. You don't know if Kawhi could do that or not, and you don't know if Kobe could succeed on this level that Kawhi succeeded on in this NBA or not. But what you can do is compare what they actually did.
But you know Kobe Bryant can compete right now because it's freedom of movement, Max. And what he did with the bumping and grinding on the perimeter defensively, he was getting to the free throw line 10, 12 times a game.
My feeling
right now, he would dominate this era. He would dominate this era right now.
Kobe Bryant would dominate any era he was in. Not necessarily be the best player, but be an MVP candidate. And I believe were he coming up in this era, he'd be a great three-point shooter because he'd work on it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just like I believe if Kawhi, you sent them back to a different era, he would work to make himself great. The point is we don't know, but we suspect. But what we can do is see what did Kobe actually do when he played, what is Kawhi doing right now, and we can compare those apples to apples. And I'm saying under pressure,
there are no apples to apples. That's the point. There are no apples to apples in this equation. That's the whole point. Max Kellerman, let me go in your wheelhouse just for a second here. Because I obviously, you know, I love boxing, but I'm not like you. I'm more humble. I'm willing to admit I don't know boxing to the degree that you do. You know I know boxing, but my God, do you know your boxing? One day you'll admit you take lessons on basketball this way. But that's a different subject for another day, Max. It's a different subject for another day.
For someone who takes lessons, I must take them pretty well because I'm always right.
I got a question about boxing. Are the rules, we watch boxing, but just answer this quick yes or no. Are the rules the same in boxing today as they were?
No.
I hear you comparing boxers all the time.
That's right, but what I don't do,
you compare them all the time.
But what I don't do is what you're doing, which is to say, well, send Floyd Mayweather or Sugar Ray Leonard back to the 50s when you had to fight or the 30s when you had to fight every other week. They wouldn't have been so tough. You just don't know that. All I know is how they did in their era.
Bob Cousy or John Havlicek or somebody. I brought up Kobe. I'm talking about Kobe just this millennium. I'm talking about Kobe. I'm talking about MJ. I'm talking about people like that. You're giving me Kawhi. Kawhi's a puppy in all of this.
The league right now is more skilled than it's ever been. I can't argue about the toughness. You have to be tougher back then, although more people play defense on more positions nowadays, more possessions nowadays.
You can see what was allowed.
The one sport that you can measure objectively is track and field. And what we know about that is Jesse Owens, who's the greatest ever, right, wouldn't be a top 10 sprinter today. And the reason we know that is we have the times, right? But I would not argue that the 8th best sprinter in the world is as great as Jesse Owens, because it's how you do in your era. I find it a little bit curious that you're trying to make the argument that it used to be better in basketball then, that the players used to be better. If you're arguing tougher, I can't really argue against that. But it's a silly argument. We don't know.
No, listen.
No,
listen
I know.
and learn.
I played.
Hold on, David. Listen and learn. What we're saying is that this era, like Damian just brought it up, the movement without inhibitions, the freedom that you have. Look at the patience that we see Kawhi has. He would not have been able to do that back in the day because they wouldn't have allowed it, because they don't allow that movement.
But
the
then what
stuff
I'm
that
saying
he could
is,
not be able to do is night and day.
Every player who succeeds in a given era, it's tautological, right, is adapted to succeed in that era. And I would believe that Kobe would succeed here because he's great and he would adapt himself to the era, period. And I believe that about Kawhi, too, in any era.
Help him.
So the argument doesn't really go anywhere.
Well,
help him, Damian.
Kawhi Leonard, I mean, he could play in, I would say, my era, because I played 12 years ago. And I think his game is physical enough, but over the course of an 82-game season, pounding.
When did Kobe play 82 games?
What do you mean?
Kobe wasn't an 82-game-a-year guy.
But when it counted, Kobe Bryant put in work.
And Kawhi doesn't when it counts?
No.
He's better than Kobe when it counts. The numbers just showed you that.
I mean, the sample size, though, Max, we're talking about 20 years of Kobe Bryant to what? 4, 5, 6 years of Kawhi?
So in other words, why have the argument? He hasn't played 20 years yet. When Kawhi plays, if and when Kawhi plays 20 years, I compare 20 to 20. Right now, I could compare what Kawhi did.